let's go back on it with your calls. Where are we going to start? Let's go to Islington's always a nice place. That's in North London. In fact, it's where Dominic Cummings lives. Joshua is in Islington, who, in fact, I understand, lives in the same road. Josh, hi.
Hi, Ian. Actually, I've been staying there. It's a long story. First of all, while I was on hold, I actually Googled the parakeet Jimi Hendrix information.
Did I make it up?
No, you didn't. But it was actually revealed and published by the NME that in 2019 it was an urban myth. And in 1855, parakeets came. But for 50 years...
Hang on a second. So firstly, the Jimi Hendrix thing was an urban myth, which I kind of... That makes perfect sense.
Google. I'm getting...
But the previous guy that said it was something to do with the hurricane in 87, that's also obviously nonsense if they've been around since 1896 or something.
I've told you everything I know on that subject.
Yes, so I'm not a police officer. Sorry.
With respect, both to when I've been at Mr. Cummings' property in the morning, sort of filming from a distance, behaving very politely. I asked him one question, which I thought was very fair, and also with your show, I'm not necessarily completely ideologically aligned, but in terms of I do understand the sense of feeling quite patronised by a sort of liberal media institution.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy.
So have you been protesting? Have you been protesting against?
No, I've not been protesting.
But you've seen the protests.
I'm not a journalist, but I've studied it and worked in it.
Okay. What do you make then? You're seeing this. You're in the same road. What are you making then of the kind of baying?
My partner lives nearby. I'm from North London, but
all right. So the baying crowds outside Cummings' house. Regardless of what we think of him.
I've been there today and yesterday, and I've not seen that. I mean, the first thing I'd say is that this morning there were 30 photographers across the street, all taking the same picture of the top of his head. And then there were 2 or 3 residents, one a bit of a crank, a couple just watching. And I mean, I'd say, I wasn't there this weekend, I'm glad I wasn't, wherever the media scrum was. I'd say the most concerning thing I found is that clearly the level of security needed was one bouncer, and there were 24-hour police service. So there were 2 police there until 8 o'clock, 2 afterwards.
You thought that was over the top?
Yeah, 100%. Particularly,
but there's a lot of... Do you not think, Joshua, there's a lot of... I mean, you and I might be rather sensible people, but a lot of people aren't. And, there's some anger out there.
I mean, there's an argument. I wasn't there this weekend. I don't know what happened this weekend. I don't know what he needed. That was just my opinion, having witnessed it. And like I say, I've been there 20 minutes a day. I've not been there during Boo Boris. I don't know how people have behaved. And in the current media climate, I don't, But I would say... What I would say about why I think Mr. Cummings' position is indefensible is that I was taught at school that the common cold doesn't spread through cold weather, it spreads through contained spaces. And I think if his wife had coronavirus and he knew it, if he'd taken his kid...
Just to pause it there a second, I don't express this next point as clearly as I'd have liked, but I'm saying that putting your child, yourself and your wife, who has severe coronavirus, in the same car across the country is terrible on every level. You're spreading it to Durham, you're spreading it amongst your family, and this is the man who sort of designed the SAGE policies.
Yeah, that's one thing. The trains were empty at the time. If they'd been on a train carriage on the other side, it's another. But I mean, this is the man who attended all the SAGE meetings, and then it's not about political allegiance or how people voted for. I mean, when you talk about Europe, it hit there a month before, and I feel like we did very little preparation. And it's very likely, like very established newspapers like the Times and the Telegraph, if you compare it to last year's death rate, the excess deaths are now looking at 60 to 70,000. So I would say that...
Yeah, I mean, it obviously depends.
I would say there's a state of shock. I'd say this is the worst thing to happen to Britain domestically.
It is, but the only context I give that, Joshua, is this very same debate is taking place in Belgium and in Spain and in Italy and in many other countries around the world. It's not exclusively a British thing.
10,000 people died in Germany. under 200 died in Greece.
Yeah, indeed, and Germany is very much the exception to the rule. The number crunchers in subsequent inquiries will shine light on that, but it is very much the exception to the rule. You know what's happening in Belgium, for example. Why Belgium? Sweden took the same, and even the Netherlands were doing exactly the same as we were, and that's the only area that I find interesting, only because it does sometimes expose what some people's raison d'etre is, and that's just to have a pop at Boris Johnson.
Well, I mean, to make it, where I would criticise my own side in terms of communication, I'd say I'm kind of left-wing Eurosceptic. And I would say that, no, but I'm saying what I don't like about my side is they should communicate like yours. You know, whether they've been right or wrong, under whatever leader.
Shouldn't be a side, though, should it really? It shouldn't be a side. We should be able to calmly discuss these things.
The way that I talk, I'm not woke, I'm not liberal. And I listen to your points, and I understand your different perspective, and I don't see it as you or your callers being less educated, less informed, wrong, or whatever on me. I look at Brexit as whatever. No, but I'm saying I completely, whether you're left-wing, liberal, Remain, whatever, Corbyn, Miliband, I understand with your callers and you why you'd be completely cynical about my side.
I could be a communist for all you know,
watching my team score own goal over own goal for 10 years. So,
all right.
No, and also, if it was any other time, I'd be happy to argue with you, but I think I'll probably finish by telling you what I asked Cummings, but I think there's a level of seriousness to this where if your callers disagree with me...
Okay, so to pause it there a second, what I asked Dominic Cummings was, on Tuesday morning, I said, if you resigned, do you think your family would be safer, healthier, happier, and you would just walk past? Well, I say on my side there, I was really killing with kindness. I was buying a bit more time on the phone by treating myself like a guest in his house. And, you know, I know his show, I don't usually listen to it, and the half hour before was very reactionary. So I wanted to sort of, I do believe that despite money and power and the right dominating British politics, the left has opportunities, and it does condescend to the countryside, does just play to a sort of middle-class urban elite. But I mean, by the end of the call, like, Ian's clearly supports Boris in a way where I think it's obvious he's a sociopath, but let's see how many more times I say my side in a defensive, passive-aggressive way.
I want them to feel like I've treated the show and them with respect. And if more people on my side treated like that...
I like it. And you might be surprised, Joshua, and thank you for your call. You might be surprised how it's not necessarily a side that we have to take, because there's a big old chunky Venn diagram there. And in lots of areas, we all sit in that curious shade of grey in the middle. That doesn't make or dilute the authenticity of your opinion, but it does mean there's commonality more than there is that there are differences in so many areas, and that's why it's choking me at the moment with the Boris Johnson kind of media frenzy, the good, the great, the metropolitan elite on social media who are not letting this one go. And what you are doing is wrecking, destroying and dismantling a unity that could be there.
He's so ridiculous. He said that all there like he was going to say, oh, I'm just being destroyed by 10,000 people dying, but then he just turns it on a kind of imagined Twitter mob of whatever after his conversations. Let's hear that original conversation I was responding to about parakeets.
Yippee, running nose.
This is what he was talking about before I got on.
Yeah, but at Lloyd's Pharmacy.
To the financial ombudsman. Danny, thank you. Danny Babbling from the British. Famous musician, like, it wasn't Jimi Hendrix, but somebody like that.
Well, they may have had some of them as pets, hasn't he?
Who was it? Phil Lynott? No, it wasn't him. Anyway,
who
that's
brought parakeets to Britain, because apparently there was a big cat.
And those things, those parakeets, I don't know how they breed, by the way, because that's an awkward anatomical setugot, really, right there, isn't it? But nonetheless, they clearly do it. They clearly do it quite regularly, and that's why there's 25 million of them.
Oh my God, that's why there's 25 million of them.
What do you know about parakeets?
What do you know about parakeets?
The green ring-necked parakeets.
Yeah, those bits.
I think he brought parakeets to mention the Jimi Hendrix thing in this. God knows what that was.